Welcome to Orange County Power Players, where we spotlight the personal, professional, and financial success stories of OC's top leaders. Here's your host, Danny Flores.
Welcome back to OC Power Players, where I interview some of the most successful people in Orange County. My name is Danny Flores, your host, and today's honored guest is Greg Hulsizer, zooming in from San Clemente. Greg has spent his career building and leading high-performing, customer-driven organizations. Over the past 40 years, he's held 17 leadership roles, including 4 CEO positions across 9 public and private sector organizations. He's launched startups, led major infrastructure projects, restructured complex operations, and worked closely with top elected officials, government agencies, investors, and multinational board of directors. Now retired from full-time work, Greg continues to consult on transportation infrastructure, coach and mentor professionals, and lead leadership development programs. A seasoned storyteller, he helps teams find their voice in high-stakes proposals and shares practical leadership insights on LinkedIn. He's also writing life lessons for little surfers, a children's book series that teaches values through ocean-inspired stories. Greg serves as president of the San Clemente Lifeguard and Junior Guard Foundation, where he combines his leadership experience, ocean lifeguard background, and deep love for the community. When he's not working, you'll likely find him surfing waves around the world and investing in what matters most, his faith and family. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you, Danny. It's a pleasure to be here, and that's quite a mouthful when you hear it read back to you like that I gotta say.
But that's amazing what you've done in the last 40 years.
I've lived a blessed life. I really, really, really have. Just the opportunities that I've been given, and the looking back, the teams I've been able to work with, the people I've been able to develop, and just the improvements that we've been able to make in infrastructure projects and in organizational development. It's been very, very fulfilling. I could have not have asked for a better career. As you mentioned, I stepped away from full-time work back in September of 2022. And I'm still working part-time on doing consulting on infrastructure projects. And I have to tell you, my friends are telling me I'm not very good at retirement. They tell me you don't know how to retire, Greg, because I'm just still working part-time, but I'm still at 60 plus hours a week with everything else that I have going. But I have to tell you, it's such a joy to do what I'm able to do, what I'm privileged to do, and primarily that's invest in people and invest in organizations. And when people ask me what I do now, my answer is very simple, and I tell them that I help people and organizations make their dreams come true, and that's really what I'm all about.
Now, how do you help them make their dreams come true? Is that in their professional career, in their personal life, relationships? How does that work?
Well, both with organizations and with people, we start with where they want to go, what they want to accomplish, who they want to be. I love the story. I tell it all the time of Alice in Wonderland when she comes to that crossroads and the Cheshire Cat's up on the signpost, and she says, I don't really know which way to go. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, all depends on where you want to end up. And she says, I don't really know. I don't really know where I want to end up. And he looks to her and says, then I guess any road will do. And I find that when I work with individuals and with organizations, many times there's not a clear vision of who they want to be, who they are, who they want to be, what they want to accomplish. And so I'm very good at helping people and organizations work through that and to identify kind of what their desired goal is, what they want to accomplish, and then break it down and put together plans and programs and steps to, with intentionality, help them to realize that. And it's always quite a journey. I love what we call blue sky thinking. I love to work with people and organizations to talk about what could be and to really, really think blue sky. If there were no constraints, what could we accomplish? What could you accomplish? And then I like to also then bring the other side of the discussion, which is I call black cloud thinking, which is, okay, this is where you want to go. Let's talk about what could go wrong. And what are we going to do to
Yeah.
make sure, what are we going to do organizationally, individually, to make sure the bad stuff doesn't happen? Or
Hmm.
at least we minimize it. So we increase our chances for success. And I absolutely just love seeing organizations and people grow and become all that they can be.
Right. No, that I guess you said something super important. In order to get where we want, we have to know where we want to go, right? You almost
Yes.
have to have like a bullseye to aim to, regardless of what it is, because if not, then you're just wandering, basically, wandering around trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and Stephen Covey says, in his book, uh, Seven Habits, he talks about you climbing the ladder of success, but finding out that that it's leaning against the wrong building, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm a real big picture, broad thinker kind of guy. And so I know myself, and I know I'm the ultimate optimist, and I know left to my own devices, if I didn't do that thinking, if I didn't work those type of things, I would say, let's take that hill, and we would take the hill. It might be the wrong hill, just might. And so I've learned that I need to surround myself with people that understand me, are willing to challenge me, and can help me do that critical thinking. So that ultimately we're not just we're working with intentionality towards a solid goal that we know is gonna pay off for us.
Right, right, because it does make sense if somebody is trying to climb the corporate ladder or wants to make more money or wants to be more successful, they don't know why, they don't know how. I can see how it would make it a lot more difficult to be able to try to cross that bridge and be successful, whatever, however it's defined by them individually.
And I love that, however it's defined by them. That's right.
Yeah,
Because all of us are on our own journey. We really, really
right.
are. And so something that works for me might not work for someone
Yeah.
else. And all I can bring to an organization or to individuals are tools and my
Hmm.
experience. But at the end of the day, it is their path, it is their journey and that they're on. And I just want to help make them successful, however they might measure that or define it. And I just take what I've learned has worked for me in my career and what I've seen has worked with others, and and uh, and help people just identify that path and with, like I said, with intentionality, move towards their goals.
So as you're speaking to somebody, and let's say you're talking to them and you're asking them questions and they kind of don't know the answers to it, how long does it take to be able to, I guess the first step would be paint a clear picture of where they want to go, step one. Step two would be kind of create the path of the things they need to do to get there, right? So it's like a two-step process. How long does that take to be able to kind of dig into somebody's mind? Or actually, I would believe they have to dig into their own mind through
Mhm.
your guidance to be able to figure that out.
That's correct. And in coaching, what I've learned is that I'm doing my best work when I'm asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing my best work when I'm asking questions, when I'm helping the people I'm working with or the organization I'm working with. When I'm helping them, investigate their thoughts, to challenge
Mm-hmm.
themselves. And I can do that by asking questions. And a lot of times, like you mentioned, someone doesn't know, right? So I'll ask a question, and they'll say, you know what, I don't know. And I'll usually follow that with, well, if you did know, what might you think? Or if you did know,
Right.
what path might you try? Right?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's in here, but it's also in here.
Right.
It's also in here, whether I'm working with a person or an organization, right? The values, the heart of the person, the heart of the organization is really what drives them. It's
Hmm.
really what drives them. Whether it's your your core values as an individual or as an organization. And so when you ask me how I do it, I try and speak to here. I try and get them to think about what's happening in here. And then we can move from here to what's happening up here, which is the kind of
Right.
the implementation phase. But if we don't know what motivates us, if we don't know what challenges us, if we don't know what success looks like for us, then we're going to end up wandering around in the wilderness. I had the opportunity. Oh my gosh, it's been it's been 3 decades now or more to do a lot of work with people who are being laid off from work, and most of them were from public sector jobs, and
Hmm.
they had been laid off, and let's just say they were a permit clerk. Their next job was not going to be in the back 2 pages of Western City magazine. There was a recession going on. There were no permit clerk jobs around, right? So
Hmm.
I had to work with them, which was a real joy to help them imagine life after maybe what they've been doing the last 20 years. And some of it has to do with letting things go and leaving the past behind and
Hmm.
reimagining their future and setting in place the you know the methodology, the steps, to move towards that goal. And it's obviously it's not a straight line. It's not a
Yeah.
straight line. It goes like this, like this, like this.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
my job is to make sure that it spirals forward. My friend Jake Golden calls it the cosmic slinky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of spiraling down like this, which can
Yeah.
happen when you're not knowing, when you're
Right.
confused, when you're going through, let's just call it a crisis, right? I love the
Yeah.
Chinese definition of crisis, which is opportunity riding the dangerous wind. How can we harness that? How can we
Yeah.
harness what's in there as the opportunity, right? Where's the pony in that pile of manure, somewhere, right?
Yeah. Right.
To
Right.
make something happen, that is going to propel us forward, that's going to make us whole, that's going to make us fulfilled, that's going to make us want to get out of bed every day and celebrate
Hmm.
our life.
So tell us a story about a person that you were able to maybe didn't have a clear picture, didn't know what they were going, what they wanted, or where they were going, and just working with them was able to just flourish and find some fire within themselves to be able to chase their own dreams.
Sure, sure. One woman that comes to mind, her name was Rebecca.
Hmm.
And I'm going to go back because this is what made me say permit clerk. She had been working in a city organization
Hmm.
for 25 years.
Hmm.
She had been a permit clerk. Her job was to be across the counter from people that wanted to get building permits or drainage permits or things like that and
Hmm.
process those, right? And that job was gone, and it was going to be gone for a number of years because we were headed into in the middle of a recession. So that job was not coming back. And so we worked with her. I worked with her, and we did an inventory. And I love to use Richard Bohl's book, "What Color Is Your Parachute?" To me, that is a great book to help people identify, myself included, their ideal next opportunity. And that's what that's all about. And I had a chance to talk with them a good amount when I was doing this type of consulting back in the early to mid '90s. And so Rebecca, she was going to have to figure out something else to do. So we worked through a process of what is it that you like to do? What environment do you like to work in? Do you like to work with people? Do you like work with numbers? Do you like to work inside? Do you like to work outside? Do you like to fast
Right.
pace, slower pace? All those type of questions, right? And we ended up discovering that she really, really, really liked to work with people. And we also learned that she really, really, really liked to work with plants. She
Mm.
was an avid
Interesting. Okay.
gardener. It was
Yeah.
avid gardener, right? And so we said, imagine an environment where you got to do what you loved working with people, work in horticulture, and
Mhm.
that type of thing. And are those jobs out there? And then so we set her on a path to do information interviewing to talk with people who were
Mhm.
doing those type of things. And she ended up becoming a manager at a large nursery.
Oh, interesting.
6 months later, she wrote me. She said, "Thank you so much. I've loved this job, the best job I ever had. You know,
Wow.
I can't believe I didn't think of this before. I'm so grateful. And as far as I know today, well, she may be retired by now, but she may still be flourishing in that role. She had
Right.
that as Covey says again. I'm a big fan of Covey. He said to have a breakthrough, you have to break with the past. You have to imagine something different than what we've been doing. And maybe it isn't. It's not that we didn't like what we were doing, but maybe something causes us to have to make a change. And that's just enough of a nudge to make us look and to imagine our lives differently, to manage our organizations differently, to imagine our businesses differently, and come up with something that makes us flourish.
You know how I've heard the analogy, the pressure creates a diamond,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So sometimes that pressure of like, when we talked earlier on how being in business is not glamorous all the time. Like sometimes you have your good times and you have your bad times, right? It comes and goes. But sometimes being under that pressure and not caving is where the new idea comes from, because you have to survive and there's no way out. Like you signed up for it, and all of a sudden you become this new person, right? You kind of shed your old shell, you go in a different direction, and you're like,
Yes.
hey,
Yes.
if it wasn't for that situation, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, how many crossroads do we
Right,
face? I've had so many crossroads in my career where I've been faced with career decisions, right?
right.
And I love this bumper sticker that my daughter has on her refrigerator. And that
Hmm.
bumper sticker says, "Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone."
That is so true,
I
right?
love that. Life begins at the edge of your comfort zone. And so even in my own career, I can go back and I can think of certain um, milestones, certain decision points that I had the opportunity to make. Maybe I was
Hmm.
forced to make, but I had the opportunity to make. For example, there was one. I was happily being a city manager in one of the cities here in Orange County, and I was young.
Hmm.
I was in, oh shoot, at that point I was maybe 40 or 42 or whatever. Um, and I was very happy with what I was doing, but then I was presented with an opportunity to go to work for a group of investors that were building the first fully automated toll facility in the world, and the first privately financed toll facility in the United States since World War II, and the first use of what was called congestion or value pricing in the United States. And I had to decide, and I knew absolutely nothing about that industry. But for
Yeah,
some reason, these investors through my network had got in touch with me, and it sounded exciting, but it was certainly very very scary, right? But what
yeah,
did I do? I said yes. I said, why not? Let's dive in. What's the worst thing that could go wrong, right? Well, I could be
right,
unemployed again, and I could find something else to do.
right.
And that ended up launching a whole new career for me. Um, and it wasn't easy. I mean, I went to my first trade conference, and for 2 days, all I did was write down acronyms and words. And I
Yeah,
finally found somebody who looked like they knew what they were talking about. I said, "If I buy you dinner, will you please explain to me what's going on?" And he
yeah.
did, and I ended up hiring him to work with me later on. But my point is, sometimes we have to be bold, right? We have to break with the
Right.
past, right? And that fog, it we have to move in that direction, and the fog will start to lift, the fog will start to
Hmm.
clear, and we'll begin to see how to move forward. But we have to take
Right.
that first step.
Right. 100%. 100%. It's, yeah, you get kind of getting used to being uncomfortable,
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah, yeah,
That's all it is. And that's where the growth comes.
it
Getting out
is.
of our, because here's the thing, if you're in your comfort zone, you know what every day looks like, you know what every month looks like, and when you know what every year looks like.
Yeah.
If you like that picture, then you're in a good spot. But if that picture isn't big enough for you, then you have to do something different, right? Different to get different results. Not
Yeah.
guaranteed that they're going to work, but you got to try.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
there's no shortcut to that,
No, there isn't. But there's real opportunity there. I mean,
right?
I'm working with a woman now, and she's pretty much deathly afraid of public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've worked and worked and worked, and now we're putting her in that path of opportunity, starting with, her daughter's school and then a trade conference and things like that. And she's really, really growing, and she's finding that she really likes it. But she was so afraid to even talk about it. Just talking about it would cause her to break out
Yeah.
in cold sweat. Just thinking about it. So. And that's because she was brave enough, was bold enough, had the courage enough to take that first step and realize
Right.
you want to do something different. And sometimes some amazing outcomes happen. I mean, who do you think? I don't know the story here. I should research this, but the whoever came up with this idea of Cirque du Soleil, right? If you ever read the book Blue Ocean Strategy, right? They talk about Southwest Airlines and other businesses that are leaders, right?
Yeah.
So who on earth said, "Well, I'm going to take the circus with the three big tops, right?
Right.
And that's super expensive, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it onto one big top, and I'm gonna get rid of all those expensive animals, and instead I'm gonna have a few animals, and I'm gonna merge that with acrobatics." you know, and gymnastics and things like that. We're going to put it in one tab, and we're going to charge people a lot of money to come and
Mm-hmm.
see that, right? Genius, absolute
Yes.
genius. And how the lead that they got on the rest of the industry in creating this whole new experience. I mean, to achieve and accomplish something like that, that can be, I suppose, a once in a career opportunity. We don't want to pass it up if we're too afraid to take advantage of, you know, you know, to step into the unknown, I guess I would say.
Right. But look, here's the thing. They didn't invent anything. They redesigned the circus. The
Yes,
circus was already here.
yes,
They just packaged it different. It's the same thing that Uber did, right?
yes,
They
yes,
didn't invent taxis. The taxis were already here. They just thought
yes.
of doing it a different way,
A
right?
different way.
Airbnb did the same thing. They
Yes,
revolutionized the travel industry. So these are
yeah,
like people that are just thinking outside of the box,
yeah,
and they're like such simple ideas how they were born, right?
yeah,
Like the guys, well, I think what is it, three partners that started Airbnb, and they just started with a mattress,
yeah.
air mattresses on the floors.
Yeah, and that just goes to the definition of creativity. A lot of times we think of creativity as I got to come up with something like totally brand new from scratch.
No,
But
right?
creativity is also the rearranging of the
Yes,
familiar in a different way.
right. Your Facebook was designed for the college students to meet each other because they had no way of meeting. And then
Yeah,
all of a sudden it blew up, and look at what it is. And then from there, all these other ideas from Instagram to TikTok and everything else comes
yeah,
up, right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
the idea of texting. Texting was designed for people who were deaf and couldn't talk. So they designed texting so that you can communicate. And guess what? That blew up too.
yeah.
And there's
Yeah,
like,
and sometimes like I said, sometimes it comes from that crisis. I love the story about about how the ice cream cone was invented at the State Fair, World's Fair, I forget what it was. The guy with
mhm,
the ice cream ran out of bowls, but next door to him was the guy with the waffles. And so
yeah,
rolled up the waffles, put ice cream in them, and voila, ice cream cone was born.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, so I always, I wish I would have invented the hula hoop or the frisbee or something like that, but
right,
I'm still on the lookout for my one big idea. It's gonna happen. I know it is.
right. I was gonna say you don't need to keep wishing. Come up with something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Something new, something different, um, something catchy. Like look at that. Okay, so what's the latest craze? Pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball.
Yeah. All of a sudden, everybody's playing pickleball, and it
Oh
looks
my
like it's
gosh.
so much fun,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Yeah.
like a simpler form of tennis, played a little bit different, and everybody it just took on like wildfire.
Yes, yes, and of course, my you can tell from behind me here, my hobby is surfing. Right? I'm an avid
Right.
surfer, been surfing for 50 plus years, things like that, right? And then, it's been decades now, but someone came up with the idea of let's make a big surfboard, give someone a paddle, and call it stand-up paddleboarding, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it's for the past, several decades, couple decades, it's been the fastest growing water sport, you know, in the world. Because why? Because it's a lot easier to do. You're up high, you can see what's going on, and you can race or you can make it leisurely. And so it's allowed so many people to continue to be in the ocean that otherwise wouldn't, because surfing is very strenuous, and at some point, your body just can't do it quite the same way. Although I'm bound determined to be sitting on the peak in the lineup when I'm 80 years old, maybe 90. We'll have to see if I can make it that far.
Right. Keeps you young. Keeps you young.
Gotta get, whatever, Clint Eastwood says, don't let the old man in, right?
There you go. That's a good way of putting it. Keep them out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Greg, as we get ready to wrap up, what do the next 6 to 12 months look like for you? Any exciting plans?
Oh, I'm super excited. I'm working part-time, working on some major infrastructure projects, and those are fun. But I'm also, I think you mentioned in my bio, I'm the president of a nonprofit called the San Clemente Lifeguard and Junior Guard Foundation. And
Hmm.
we support our lifeguards and junior lifeguard programs here in San Clemente with scholarships for junior guards that can't afford the program. In fact, we just got a check today from a local organization to help us provide more scholarships. We do a lot of public education and training too. This last summer, we trained over 100 people in CPR.
Wow.
We're all about
Wow.
making our beach and oceans more safe, but we're also about celebrating the legacy of our 95 years of having ocean lifeguards in San Clemente. And so, as a foundation, we're proposing to the city to place a sculpture of a male and female lifeguard in the park right above the pier, aptly called the Rescue. And
Hmm.
we've now got that sculpture project through the city and through the Coastal Commission. Now just need to raise $300,000, and 9 months later we'll have a sculpture. And so I have
Nice.
that, and then my wife and I are working on a series of children's books um, called Life Lessons for Little Surfers, and they're those small little board books. You've seen them for little kids, heavy
Right.
board and
Right.
things like that. And each of them has a story, because people always said to me, "Oh, you should write a book." I'm like, "Oh, that leadership stuff's been true. It's been gone over a million times." But we're
Right.
taking lessons and putting them in a children's book for kids between 3 and 7 years old,
Oh,
even early
nice.
readers. And
Yeah.
each story, like the one that looks like it's going to come out first, is Marco's first big wave, and it's about bravery and being brave and trying things you wouldn't otherwise try.
Hmm.
So it's a very short story, and at the end of the story, it has a page called "Let's Talk" with several questions, and then "Let's Try" with activities. And this is meant for a parent or a grandparent to read to their children. So those
Hmm.
are just two projects I'm very, very excited about, along with just the time that I get to have with my family, including my four grandchildren. They just make my life just they really make my life.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like I said,
Congratulations.
I've lived a very blessed. I'm a very blessed man.
Congratulations on recognizing that, because we have to recognize the blessings that we have. I think we all have blessings, but we don't always recognize them. We look at the bad things sometimes and get let those draw us in. But at the end of the day, every day is a blessed day, no matter what.
It really is, and this is what I work with some of the people I coach on, because they're like, "Oh, I'm always so grumpy." And then I say, I want you to do this before you go to bed at night, before you drop off. I want you to just out loud, say, "I'm thankful for this, this, and this today. I'm grateful for
Mhm.
this, this, and this." And when you wake up in the morning, you do it again. Maybe not the same things, but I'm really looking forward to this. I'm grateful for this, this, and it may not be all that, um, you know, fantastic or whatever, but gratitude heals the soul. Gratitude
Oh
gives
yeah.
us energy. Gratitude gives us a reason for getting out of bed in the
Hmm.
morning, right? And going about our day
Yeah.
and interacting with people and finding ways to lift our society up. individual by individual, person by person. And in doing that, imagine if we all do that, how much better we could make this world and how much each day would really mean and really count. And so, that's that the whole gratitude thing is so much a part of who I am.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's a game changer. Personally, I have a gratitude journal that I write in every day,
Good for
every
you.
morning,
Good for you.
right? Three
Yeah.
things that I'm grateful for. There's
Yeah.
always three, no matter what. And it changes your whole perspective of life. It changes your whole perspective of your day. There are no things that are bad any day if you really think about it. You might have some hurdles along the day, but if you live another day, that's a blessing in itself, right?
Yes.
It just you're breathing, you wake up, like wow, the day that you don't wake up, game over.
Yeah, and as you go about your day, you're seeing opportunities to to
Yeah,
to
yeah,
rejoice and be grateful for. It's
yeah,
kind of like we recently bought a car, right? And
yeah,
now it's like you've heard this before, right? We bought this car, and now all I see on the freeway is this car, right? Because I got my
yeah,
mind oriented towards
yeah,
seeing that car. So if I
yeah,
orient my mind every morning towards let's find something good to celebrate today, it's
yeah.
going to show up. It's
Oh
going
yeah,
to show
yeah.
up, and it's gonna
What?
it's gonna elevate my mood and make me just a better, happier, more fulfilled person. And to me,
Yeah.
doesn't get any better than that.
100%, 100%. So, Greg, thank you so much for sharing your life, your profession, the fun things that you like to do. If somebody's listening and wants to get a hold of you, how could they do that?
The best way is to look me up on LinkedIn. You'll find all my postings there, and all my contact information is there. And so that's probably the best way to kind of track me down and look me up. And I love helping people. I'll always respond back, and that's what I would suggest.
Perfect. So look up Greg Hulsizer on
Yep.
LinkedIn, and that's how
Yes.
you can find him.
Yeah, and it's Hulsizer, and just like it sounds. And shoot me a message, and would love to connect.
Very good. Well, once again, thank you, Greg, for coming on. And to our audience, please go to ocpowerplayers.com and follow us on your favorite channel. Thank you, Greg.
Danny, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Orange County Power Players. Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at ocpowerplayers.com/guest.